Hi again. Today I wanted to talk to you a little about Fibro Fog. Fibro Fog was something I experienced from the get-go. In fact, when you're so sick and in so much pain, so run down, feeling lethargic, I think your brain tends to just want to shut down anyway. But for me, Fibro Fog was something that felt like at times complete blackouts on my memory, or I had whole days I didn't even remember happening. I think for the most part, I turned into sort of a zombie. I mean, that sounds silly, a zombie. I don't believe in zombies, but I, my body was just like this shell I was living in, but I barely existed. And so when I did get out and do something and then return back to my bed, basically, I just was so exhausted. I didn't remember it even happening. For instance, there was one day when I was probably 5 or 6 months into being ill. My virus had subsided, the initial virus, but I decided to do some stuff with a friend a couple of times. And one Monday morning, I get a call from a friend's husband asking me, "Hey, which airline did you drop Mary off at?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, on Friday you took Mary to the airport and you dropped her off at an airline, and I was going to pick her up today." And I had zero idea what he was talking about. I was like, "You must have me confused with someone else. I haven't seen Mary in a long time." And I certainly didn't go to an airport. And he's like, "No, Diana, you took her to the airport." Well, as he's asking me this over the phone, I was sitting having coffee with a girlfriend, and she reminded me, "Diana, you were with Mary on Friday. You guys talked to me from Starbucks." And I just looked at her with this blank stare on my face and had no recollection whatsoever of anything taking place regarding spending time with Mary 3 days prior. No recollection of the airport. And she kept trying to trigger my brain. She's like, "Remember when you were on the phone? We had this conversation about, X, Y, Z." And all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb. And I was like, "Oh, I did take Mary to the airport. Oh my gosh, what happened? Where'd that go?" And the more I thought about it, I was able to trigger, what had happened. I knew I had gone to Orange County Airport. I knew I took her to the first terminal. I didn't know which airline. But I was able at least to give her husband enough information so he could get to the right airport and know which terminal to pick her up at. But it was one of those things when I first realized that Fibro fog was more than just a fog. There were times it's like the short-term memory just didn't work. And for me, that was scary because I used to be able to remember everything. I was sharp as a tack. Where I used to work, my boss could give me a list verbally of 20, 30 things that I needed to get done that week. I didn't need to take a single note. My brain would just recall every single thing he had given me. Without doubt, I was so sharp, lists weren't needed. I could just remember everything. And going from that to full-blown blankouts in my brain of whole days, that was, besides a little scary, it was bizarre. And of course, doctors just knock it up to, "Oh, you've just been sick. You'll be fine. There's nothing wrong. You're just getting older." Here I am in my mid-30s at the time. "Oh, you're just getting older." It's like mid-30s, okay, come on. You don't go from super sharp one day to feeling like dumb as dirt the next day. But that's kind of how it felt. And so it took a while, but my doctor decided eventually to try me on a prescription, which, as we all know, a lot of prescriptions are Band-Aids. But this time the prescription was called modafinil. That was the generic version for Provigil. And Provigil was a very expensive medication. It took effort to get my insurance to even approve it, because at first I don't think it was generic yet. And the medicine had nothing to do with what I had, but I was so out of it and so slow compared to what I used to be, and I couldn't remember things quite often, and just always fatigued. And my doctor thought this Provigil would help me have a new level of alertness in my brain. And the medication was originally designed for narcoleptics. Now, I wasn't midday, just randomly falling asleep in the middle of nowhere. Granted, I was fatigued all the time, but he had heard some good things about it at a recent medical convention and said, I really think we should try this and let's just see how it goes. And I can tell you that first day I took Provigil, it was like a light bulb came on, and I'd want to say 70% of my brain back. When I was first sick, I hardly spoke at all. And as you can tell, I speak a lot. So I went from feeling like a zombie and being somewhat lethargic and hardly speaking to back to a semi-normal speaking, vocabulary, memory. I still have occasional brain fog with it, but it's nothing like it was. And so that Provigil is something I took for 5 years every day. And if I missed a single day, I would get kind of lethargic and slow again. And so that medicine really did stimulate my brain to a level of alertness that I could function semi-normally for at least the first 5 to 6 hours after I took it. I still had my pain, but my brain was functioning. And that alone felt like a miracle at the time. I'm happy to say that I've now been off of Provigil completely for 8 years, and I still have my brain. The occasional fibro fog happens, the little things, forgetting someone's name or forgetting a word, but I don't forget big, episodes or things that happen in detail. And it's very rare to feel that way. And usually when I wake up in the morning, I feel fairly refreshed, and I'm able to, after a couple hours anyway, get some pretty good brain activity and thinking, have good conversations. As long as I don't have a migraine, the conversations usually flow pretty well. And so for me, that Provigil was a big stepping stone in getting my memory and brain back. But in the long run, I ended up with some supplements. After getting off Provigil, I found some supplements that help with memory and just help me stay alert. They've made a big difference. One of those supplements is magnesium. I'm not sure why, but apparently a lot of us have magnesium deficiencies. Magnesium helped me have a little more energy and give me some of that brain activity back. Johns Wort is another one. It's good for mood, but it also stimulates, I guess, some of the brain function and activity. And then the last one I was taking for it was, what's it called? Magnesium, Johns Wort. Oh gosh, I'm at a blank. I'm so sorry. Shoot, I can't remember the name right now, but I will put a link in the bottom of this with all 3 of them that have helped me. That's funny. I'm talking about how I don't forget things too often, and here I am forgetting the name of it. So sorry about that, but I don't have a list of notes in front of me, so I'm trying to do it from memory. But I will get all 3 of them to you. They will be in the bottom of this post. And just know that if you're having really bad fibro fog, I don't necessarily agree with taking every medication out there, but Provigil is worth asking a doctor about. For me, it did stimulate my brain back to that level of alertness to where I could have semi-normal conversations again and not feel just so out of it. And again, I took that for 5 years, but in my 13-year journey now, for the last 8 years, with just nutritional supplements, I feel I've had the majority of my brain back, and fibro fog is not a all the time thing. Granted, like I said, the occasional word, the occasional thing slips the brain. I think that is, with anybody, that happens sometimes. But I was grateful for that doctor finding that and having that success and getting at least my ability to think and function that way back. So stay positive. Remember, your limbs hurt like hell, but thank God every day we have limbs. And try to look on the bright side. There's a lot of good things out there. There are strides being made in finding things to help us, and hopefully eventually even a cure. So God bless you, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.